Hey, hi, hello everyone. Welcome back to digitalage.com. In this video, we will be writing our Ajax script to submit all the information to our database. So this was the jQuery file we created last time, and it was validate.js. Next thing we need to do is we need to make sure every time the person is hitting this particular submit button, we are validating this form as well. So as of now, if I'm going to click the submit button, it does not do anything. So what we need to do is first, at the time of hitting the submit button, we need to validate all these fields, and if they are validated, we need to run an Ajax query, or I would say an Ajax script, to send the data to the server and save it to our database. And it won't be very difficult, as we have already created the function. We won't have to do anything more. We just have to run this function at the time of pressing or submitting the form. So I'm going to check out the ID of the submit button, and the ID of the submit button is submit itself. So I'm going to say $id submit dot click function. So every time this particular button will get clicked, go ahead and follow the commands we're going to write out here. So very first thing, I'm going to say if validate name. That means if this particular function is returning true, okay, and validate email, okay, and validate subject, and validate uh, comments, okay. And we won't be doing like validate captcha. For that we will be doing it in a different way. So very first, I want to say return false. If these function are not returning true, then go ahead and return to false. That means don't do anything else. Just for the testing purposes, I'm going to say alert to hello, or a wrong spelling of hello. So I'm going to refresh the form once again, and this time I'm going to hit the submit button. So it says this particular field is required. So let me say my name. Okay, then it says this particular field is required as well. So I'm going to put my own email on the subject. Let's say hello dude. Then I'm gonna hit the submit button again. It's gonna, it's asking me to actually fill the comments. So I'm gonna say, hey man. Now if I hit the submit button, it says that hello thing, though our captcha is not validated. Guys, for that we need to, run a different check. If you people remember, we have a hidden field out here. If I'll go to my index file, and out here I have a hidden field which has an ID of capture test, and the time we are running this particular slider thing, we are making its value to valid. And out here, if the capture test is not valid, we are just making it value equals to not valid. So that's what I'm going to do out here. I'm going to say f dollar id, yes, id capture test, the val is equals to valid. That means this particular form is valid. Then go ahead and alert again something so we can actually test it. Else uh, alert something blah blah blah. Okay, go ahead, refresh the form once again, and this time if I'm gonna hurt, I'm sorry, I'm gonna hit submit, it does not do anything. Okay, it says that SSD something, okay, but if I'm gonna verify my captcha, still it says the same thing. But it should say hello. Okay, let me check it out and say if captcha. I believe my spelling is wrong, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this from here and I'm gonna paste it here. My spelling was wrong, so one more time, guys. I'm gonna hit the submit button. It says hello. That's ugly. Okay, let me tell you one problem. What happened last time, once we slided this particular slider to the lock, it entered the value to our hidden field, and the value was valid. And every time you're going to refresh this particular page, this input field is not going to lose its value. So what we have to do is we have to make sure every time a page will get refreshed, it will become to null. That means become to nothing. So I'm going to say $id captcha test val equals to nothing. So if I'm going to refresh it, this particular field would be blank. Okay, so now if I'm going to hit submit, it says, sad FSA. Okay, now I'm going to drag it to the lock, and if I hit submit, it says hello. Okay, so that means our entire form is validated now, and we can actually send the request to the server and just save the entire information to our database. And we would be using Ajax for that. So I'm going to take these alerts off, and out here, let's say else return to false. This one return to true. Just above it, we're gonna write our Ajax. Guys, I won't be using jQuery Ajax function to send a request to the server. I would be using native JavaScript XML kind of a request. So what I'm gonna say is I'm gonna say f window dot XML HTTP request. That means we are getting the request from the modern browsers. Then we're gonna create a variable that would be XML HTTP. You can name it to anything if you want, and make it equal to the request we are getting from the server. Okay, HTTP dot request. My request plane is wrong. XML HTTP request like this. Okay. Else, that means we are working with IE, and for that we have to do it in a different way. I'm gonna say new active X object Microsoft, and for Microsoft it would be .xml HTTP. Okay, so let me give you an idea what actually we are trying to do. Out here we are making sure which kind of a request we are getting from the server. Okay, or I would say from the window. If we are getting an XML HTTP kind of a request, then make it equal. That means we are working with Firefox or any modern browser. Else we are working with IE, and then make it equal to ActiveX object Microsoft. Guys, if you people are not sure about Ajax, then you can go ahead and browse some basic tutorials. And I won't be able to cover Ajax more out here because this particular video is not about Ajax. It's about creating a dynamic form. So next thing I want to say XML HTTP dot on ready state change. That means once this particular form is ready to change its state, okay, make it equal to a function like this. And then we have to make sure that the request we are sending to the server, or the response we are getting from the server, is actually in the right format. So I'm going to say XML HTTP, that would be our variable we created above, dot ready state is equals to for it needs to be like this, and XML HTTP dot status, that would be equals to 200. Okay, and out here people can run any kind of function. We're gonna do that later, but very first I'm gonna say XML HTTP dot open, which kind of a request we want to send. That would be a post request. The file name, let's say libs slash validate .php. This would be our PHP file that we want to give the reference to, and the very last thing would be return to true. Okay. Next thing, we have to set the headers for the request. So I'm gonna say XML HTTP dot set request header. Okay, the content type would be application slash x www for URL encoded. Okay, I believe everything seems fine. And in the very last, the parameters we want to send uh, to the server. So I'm gonna say XML HTTP send parameters. This is actually a name of a variable that we're gonna create in a second. Again, out here, we would be creating our parameters. Okay, guys, now let me tell you what this entire code actually means. Out here, we are checking, the type of a browser we are working with. Then we are checking out if our I would say request is ready for a change and making sure that the request or I would say the response we are getting is in the right way. Then we are referencing a PHP file that we want to work with, and finally we are sending the parameters. And again, guys, if you people are not working with Ajax, then it might seem damn complicated to you. But again, you can check out some basic tutorials on it. And in this video, I'm really sorry I won't be able to cover Ajax with basics. The parameters we want to send would be the actual values from this particular file. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say name1 would be equals to name dot well, the name variable we created above, and the value of that variable. Okay, in the same way, I'm going to say email1 would be equals to email dot well. The next thing we need is subject would be equals to subject dot well. Okay, and the very last thing would be comments one would be equals to comments dot well. So that means we are getting the value of all the fields. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to say name is equals to plus name1. This name field actually means the one we're going to use in the PHP, and this is the reference to the value. So this is our variable we created out here on the top. Okay, I'm going to say email will be equals to email1. Again, guys, you can name these fields which are inside single quotes to anything you want, but make sure the same names you are using while you're working with your PHP file. But if I'll talk about these variables like name1 or email1, they need to be the same you created up here on the top. Okay, next thing would be the subject equals to subject1, and the very last we would be sending the comments. Uh, comments would be equals to comments one. What's happening? Okay, like this. And now we can actually test whether it's sending any request to the server or not. I'm going to refresh the form, and I'm going to open my console out here. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the submit button. It does not do anything. If I'm going to validate it, then I'm going to do it. It says this particular file is not found, obviously because we haven't created this file, but still we can check out the variables we are sending to the server. So increase it out here. And it says our post variables name equal to the one I created, email is equal to my email, subject is equal to hello dude, and the comment says hey man. Okay, so that means we are able to send the data to the server. Now we need to create this validate.php file. We have the folder called lips. I'm going to create a new file, and I'm going to say validate.php. That would be our PHP tags. Next thing, I'm going to say if $post, that means if this page was opened with a post request, okay, and someone is not actually accessing this page directly from the browser. Then say $name would be equal to $post name. Okay, the actual information we are sending to our JS file. The email would be equals to $post email $subject will be equal to $post subject $comment would be equal to $post uh, comments. Okay, and after creating these variables, we would be submitting them to the database. But before that, we need to create a database plus a table where we would be storing our data. So I'm going to go to my local host. I'm going to go to my databases. Out here, I'm going to create a new one. Let's say contact. Hit create. It's done. It's here. Then I'm going to say the table would be contact form. Okay. Let's say we need only 5 fields. I'm going to say an ID, person's name, their email, their subject, and the final comments they are sending to us. So this would be a voucher. Let's say 150 would be fine. 150 for the email, and 100 for the name. And for the comments, I'm going to say to text so that they can enter, unlimited characters. ID would be an auto increment and a primary key. So every time we're going to get a new request, it will increase by itself. Okay, so here to the bottom, drag it to the left, hit save. So that means we got our new table with the name of contact form, and out here we need to make the connection with our database. So very simple. I'm going to say MySQL connect local host by using my username as root, and the password would be nothing for me. And then I'm going to say MySQL select DB, that means select the database with the name of contact. Guys, again, I'm not creating any different file because we are only working with one PHP file, and I'm not using any advanced way to make a connection. If you people want, you can use the MySQL PDO class to do it, or any other different way. I just want to make it more simple with the PHP. My main focus was to show you how to create, capture with jQuery and how to use Ajax request in order to do all this. Okay, so I'm not gonna do anything fancy with the PHP. Next thing I'm gonna say is run SQL query. That would be MySQL query, and I'm gonna say insert into contact form. That is the name of our table, and we need to put the name. This actually needs to be like this: subject, comments, our values would be the variables we created out here on the top. So I'm going to say .main, .email, .subject, and .comments. Okay, or die MySQL error. That means we are not able to run this query successfully. Next thing, we need to check out how many rows have been affected from this particular query. So I'm going to say MySQL affected rows. Okay, and we are making it equals to our variable. So I'm going to say if dollar affected is equals to 1, because if everything is going fine, every time you're going to insert 1 return to our table. Okay, so if it's equals to 1, let's say echo done, else error, echo error submitting your form. Okay, quite simple. Okay guys, so I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna refresh my file, and let's see what happens. And one more thing guys, right now the response we are getting from the server, we won't be able to see it until and unless we're not gonna write any jQuery for that. So just for now, what I'm gonna say is alert, or we can say console dot log. Okay, so yep, dot log XML HTTP, the very native variable we created, dot response. fonts, text. Okay, come back, refresh this page once again. We already have data pre-filled out here. I'm gonna run my captcha validation, and then I'm gonna hit submit. Let's see what happens. Open the console. It says an empty string. That means English. Now let me check it out. It's proper. Name is equals to name, email equals to email, subject equals to subject, comments is equals to comments, the setting post, the content type is a full. Okay, my spelling is wrong out here. I'm saying from, not from. That was my problem, and that's okay. I'm gonna drag the captcha here. Okay, then I'm gonna hit, and see guys, the console.log said done. That means we got one record to a database. I'm gonna refresh it. I'm gonna close my Firebug. It says an ID with a name of 0. Oh my gosh, that's something really different. Let me check it out. What go to structure. Okay, because it's my mistake. I made it equal to an integer, so I'm gonna change it out from here, and I'm gonna say a varchar. So that means we are getting letters, all the numbers like a numeric kind of a field. So let's say one more try. I'm gonna refresh the form. I'm gonna write my captcha out here. I'm gonna hit submit. Come back to the database. Refresh. I got my name, my email, and a subject, and it says here. And till now, we are not able to let the person know whether they are able to submit the form or not. And they're gonna be very easy. So what I want to do is I'm gonna take this console.log thing off. So response is again a variable we are creating is equals to the response we are getting from the server. I want to say if response is equals to done. That will only happen in one case, when we are able to submit this form. Then go ahead and do something else. What we can do is, guys, if you want, we can create a new div out here in the between. The moment they're gonna hit submit the form, we can show the success message out here. So what I'm gonna do is out here, I'm gonna create a new div. I'm gonna say div class success. Okay, and just to check it out where exactly it is, I'm gonna say form submitted success fully. Okay, quite simple. Refresh, and it's out here right now. Actually, I can take the success class off and let me see message. And I'm gonna open my CSS file, install.css. I'm gonna say message. Copy everything from here, and we're not gonna use the absolute position. So let's take this off, and so we're happy. So it's out here, and we can use actually the Firebug to design it. Okay, so I'm gonna open my Firebug. Very first, we need to decrease its width. So I'm gonna say width to 500 pixels with a margin to auto. Okay, so that means it's out here in the center. And the padding thing, let it be there. Next thing I'm gonna say margin top 10 pixels, and let it be on the left. So I'm gonna take the auto thing. Let's see, margin to auto. For now, I'm just gonna leave it to the center. Later, people can install it the way they want it. So copy everything. I'm gonna say margin top to 16 pixels, and for the border radius, we can use the WebKit and the mouse prefixes. Actually, it will work fine with the latest Mozilla Firefox. But for the older browsers. So WebKit, Moz, the same can be done out here. Okay. Okay, fine, guys. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say if the response is equal to del, sorry, equal to done, the class message dot fade in. Okay. We need the name dot bell equals to nothing, and we are also making sure every time we are making them to blank. So name the val equals to nothing. Here would be the email. The val equals to nothing. Same goes to subject and our comments area. And then we need to make sure that we are showing them this arrow once again. Okay, so UI slider dot show. Yes, and ID capture test the value would be equals to nothing once again. And in the CSS file, I'm gonna hide this particular def. So I'm gonna say display to come back, we refresh the page. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna make it validated. I'm gonna hit submit. Everything is gone and it says form submitted successfully. Next thing we need to make sure that we are not showing any kind of ugly spams. So one more thing we can do, spam dot hide dollar. That means we are not showing any spams anymore. Let's try it one more time. Try with my real name. Subject to like your form. I'm gonna drag it to here and I'm gonna hit submit. Okay, it's done. Okay, there is one problem. If you will notice, this particular arrow is coming on the very right. We don't want that. We want it to be again on the same position where it was earlier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say dollar class UI slider handle. I believe that what its class is. For 1 moment, I'm going to copy it from the Firebug and I'm going to paste it here. Yep, that was UI slider handle dot css, and I'm gonna say lift again to 0. Okay, so come back, refresh it once again, and the next thing we need to make sure is we are not actually echoing anything from the HTML itself. So I'm gonna take it off, and we're gonna make its HTML from the jQuery. So I'm gonna copy it once again, and here I'm gonna say message1, because if there would be any errors from our PHP, we also want to show them that. So I'm going to go to my style.css file and I'm going to grab everything from here. I'm going to paste it here and I'm going to say message1, and we need to change the color, the background. Okay. So come back and paste it here. So I believe everything looks fine now. I'm going to go to my JS file and here I'm going to say on the very top dollar class message dot HTML would be form submitted successfully. Okay, or any other message that you want to show. And the next thing we want to make sure, if any time they got an error earlier, we are also hiding that particular div. So I'm gonna say $ID message1 dot hide actually. Okay, and if they are not able to submit the form properly, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna copy it and I'm gonna paste it here I want to say message1.html will be equals to the response we are getting from the PHP, because we're not sure what the error gonna be. So let the PHP do it for us. And then I'm gonna say message.hide and message1.show. Okay, message1 dot fade in. So come back. I believe everything seems fine now, and I'm gonna enter a new form now. So the subject would be, let's say, whatever. Okay, then I'm gonna slide this captcha to the right. I'm gonna hit submit, and you see everything's gone, and we got a captcha on the very left hand side. The next thing is the lock is still to the green one. We can actually change it. It's background position, so I'm gonna open my Firebug once again, and I have to say background position to nothing, I believe. So if I say background position, right, that's all, right top, yeah. So I'm gonna say div id capture dot id capture dot css, that would be background position, and that would be right top. So every time we're gonna submit the form, our key would be on the very left hand side, and the form will turn again, back to the gray one. So guys, that was a very simple way to make a contact form. So now you people know how to make inline validation, you know how to make a jQuery captcha, you know how to make an Ajax request to the server, and you can use all these technologies to build a very awesome contact form or a registration or a login form. So see you guys next time.